Hi everyone, I'm Anthony O'Flynn. Hope this video is going to be okay with the sound. It's not going to be too windy. So firstly, thanks to everyone for all your birthday wishes. Much appreciated. Yes, I am a child of the galactic center, 26 to 28 degrees of Sagittarius. It's such a huge area of space that the orbit is actually quite big, 2 degrees, and it is quite a profound time of the year. That we've passed now, but we're moving into the phase of the solstice. But the galactic center is basically what the Mayans considered to be the womb of creation, the galactic birth passage. So in essence, it could be defined from an astrological point of view as the point where Shiva and Shakti meet in the tantric tradition, and also the nexus point of unmanifestation and manifestation, this gateway of creation itself. So it is a very profound cosmic signature, and it's only happening obviously once a year. So all those other galactic children out there born with Sagittarius, Sun in Sagittarius, 26 degrees to 28 degrees, happy birthday to all of you, and I hope you're feeling the cosmic pulse of this profound time we're living in. So moving on from that, we have the solstice, the summer solstice here in Australia. Tomorrow, Queensland time, 22nd of December at 7:48 a.m. So the solstice obviously is another pivotal moment and is one of the 4 cardinal points, 2 solstice, 2 equinoxes, making up this cardinal cross or cardinal square, if you want to think of that, or one of the 4 cardinal points, north, south, east, west, one of the 4 spokes of Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, in terms of the chakra system, the 4 seasons, all these sorts of things, and 4 yugas, everything related to the number 4 in this way, but not necessarily from a numerological perspective. So this is again a very important time, a hiatus and a gateway before we enter cardinal Earth, which is Capricorn. Tomorrow the sun moving into Capricorn, which denotes the solstice, and obviously it's reversed in the northern hemisphere, and it will be the winter solstice. So this day is gradually getting longer in the northern hemisphere, and the days gradually getting shorter in the southern hemisphere, with this polarity, plus and minus flipping. And you can see there are so many esoteric and occult dimensions to all of these sorts of things. Occult simply means hidden. It's not necessarily anything bad in that way, and it's a very powerful time for manifestation, for creation, for setting intentions, and for taking action on the earth plane, as Capricorn is obviously embodies in such a deep way. So have a great solstice, everybody, for tomorrow. And basically this video will be about the splitting in consciousness that's occurring, and it's quite a profound experience to take part in, to participate in, and also to witness, because we are finding now that it's becoming more apparent that there is a splitting of consciousness occurring on this planet. Now, most people have just simplified that into the concept or the idea that there's just a splitting into 2. It's actually much more complex than that, and there's much greater nuances than that. But for simplicity, for the sake of this video, I'll basically be splitting this into 3 particular groups. Obviously, we have the light and the dark, which everyone is more or less aware of unless you're new to these concepts. But there is also the intermediary group, which is what I refer to in my book, Paradigm Shift, the Global Awakening of Humanity, 2020 to 2040, that there is this intermediary group, which eventually will either go into the timeline of the light, or the 5D timeline, or remain on the 3D experience, all of which are valid journeys for the soul. But the point that I really want to convey in this video is that what concerns me the most about this time frame we're in now is that there is so many people on this planet who are unaware of the cosmic game, who are unaware of the events that are unfolding, and unaware of why they have actually come to this planet in the first place, why they have taken a physical body, what they're doing here. I mean, this is one of the most profound metaphysical questions of all, and it's applicable to all of us, is why am I here? And we have compartmentalized and compressed our experience of this reality largely into accumulating material possessions, into this consumer culture, into experiencing only the senses, which there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but when it's the dominant experience that the soul is seeking, it really makes it difficult to get out of this compressed, engrossed experience and start to discover these parts of our being which are much more elevated, which are much more profound and eternal. And this is precisely what the paradigm shift is asking of us, is this accelerated evolution. And so it's very difficult for this intermediary group to actually start to come to terms with the fact that there is a much more spiritual dimension to their being and a much more spiritual dimension to life, which is also encased or enmeshed in the physical experience itself. Because some people would say, I'm just doing the dishes, I'm just washing the car, I'm just doing the shopping. It's like, there's nothing profoundly spiritual about that. And it's a valid argument if you look at it from one perspective. But the other perspective is what's behind that, the consciousness behind that experience, and also the function of the experience itself as what is it's teaching us at a soul level. And the only way to get these lessons that our soul is asking from us in this reality is to come and experience this 3D reality with a physical body. So in this way, there's still evolution, even if it is unconscious. It's just much slower. It's happening in a much slower capacity, and that is not what the universe is asking from us now. And in terms of the awakening in general, the other aspect that concerns me is the awakening community, the focus that is almost exclusively on the power structure, on geopolitics, on everything around the globalist agenda, all these sorts of things, which there is just volumes of information coming out about that, which is part of this process, absolutely. But it's also extremely limited perspective as to what that's teaching us at a soul level. There's not enough conversation around that and not enough integration into the deeper levels, the deeper understanding of what this actually means at an individual level and a collective level, as far as the evolutionary process that we're in now, this accelerated process. So that means really coming home to ourselves and doing the inner work and integrating these lessons and integrating the reality that we are living in a massive tyranny here, and that we are experiencing this by design, and we are come here to experience this, to navigate our way through this, not just reject it or block it out or project all our anger and frustration externally to not look within. And this is what the universe is actually asking us at this point. And it's what I expect the conversation around some of these themes to start to become more profound and more openly discussed, not for some time yet. But the problem with this is, and the analogy that I'll use is that if you're catching a plane and there's all the passengers who have tickets to get on the plane, well, there's people that get to the airport hours early. They plan their trip meticulously, they get the train, they get the shuttle, they get the friend to drop them off, whatever they do. But they're there early, they check in early, they go through the security early, they even go to the gate early, and they're there ready. Well, those people are at a soul level planning for this profound experience of awakening and are preparing for this launch or this journey, and that's why they're at the gate early. And of course there's grades of people that get there reasonably early, and other people literally, to be clear, I'm not one of these people that get an airplane at all early. Last plane I caught, I was there 10 minutes before the bag drop off cut off, and that's just me. But then there are some people that leave it to the last minute, and then there are actually some people that miss the plane altogether. So this is what I'm referring about when I'm talking about the split, because eventually this intermediary group will be choosing or evolving into one of these two paths eventually, and in the end this will split again in the higher timeline, a higher frequency, because it's just not limited to black or white. It's not a binary thing, but it's a good way of thinking, at least for our experience here. Now, this is a problem because there is therefore a restricted amount of linear time in which people have to get to the airport. And at this stage, I don't see the intermediary zone going to the airport en masse. In fact, I would say they don't even know the airport exists. And then we have sub-levels and different other groups within this intermediary zone. For example, the New Age people who think that they're going to sort of bypass their way through this. They're not really going to do any shadow work. They're not going to do really any meditation. They're not going to really change their diet, all these sorts of things. And they are attempting to bury their head in the sand, is the same way as what people in the awakening community refer to the masses who are choosing to remain oblivious to what's occurring, into topics such as, you know, the magic potion, for example, and these sorts of things. So they have the same level of consciousness, it's just manifesting differently. And it's important to understand that, because these challenges are major blind spots for some of these groups. So this New Age group who have this invalid belief system around what it means to be an individual, and yet also what it means to be part of the collective in 3D reality, and how the collective will influence you as an individual. And people seem to think that that doesn't happen on the physical plane. Believe me, that happens. The collective, if you say you're creating your own reality and you're one individual, and then there's 7 billion other people also creating their own reality, at the physical level, the collective and those 7 billion people, you better believe they're influencing your reality. They are the collective conscious mind, which is the hive mind, which we're all connected to, and some are more connected than others, the challenge is to evolve out of that into a state of greater sovereignty, greater individuality, greater autonomy, all the qualities that people who have their consciousness in Manipura chakra embody. And this is why the chakra system is a reference point for so much of the challenges and so many of the topics regarding the awakening, also because of its verticality. That as we go up the chakras, the number of spokes in the chakras increase, revealing their complexity and consciousness, and also the element starts to become more dispersed, more light, moving from earth to water to fire to air to ether. There is a dispersion, there is less density, basically. And these are issues that are all going to be reflected in how our external world mirrors our internal world as we move through this. So this intermediary group are having this colossal potential to move into the group of what we can refer to as the light, or the 5D timeline, whatever you want to call it. It's the names are not really that significant, but what is significant is the level of consciousness, because if you are unable to transform, then you'll simply miss the plane. And I don't say this in any way as a warning to people, but people need to become aware of the actual game that's being played here in the first place. And then we can start to eradicate the impurities in our being and our limitations, and become more heart-centered, and become a service to others, and all these things. And until then, we are just blindfolded, actually, at a spiritual level. So this is the opportunity that awaits this section of the collective. This is the potential, but you have to access that, and this will be very confronting for many people. And then we go into the topic of the magic potion, which always comes up, that people who have had the magic potion will not be able to migrate into the higher reality. I don't agree with that at all. Obviously that will be true for some people, because they'll be unable to adjust their belief systems and integrate reality into what's occurred in regard to that. But then other people will become more lucid, become more aware, and actually have the courage to come out and say that they were wrong, that they were fooled, and all this sort of thing. This will be a big test for them. It will be one of their biggest tests of their lives, to have the lucidity and the open-heartedness to really come to terms with the fact that you know, you got it wrong, you were fooled, you were indoctrinated, all these things. It's the pride there, just feeling into it, is pretty big. It's going to be pretty big to overcome. The flip side of the other coin is other people will be saying, well, if I haven't had the magic potion, therefore I'm definitely on my way to the new paradigm and so on. Yeah, I totally disagree with that as well. Like, there's all kinds of unethical people doing crazy things who haven't had the magic potion, and although this will be a benchmark for some people, it won't be for all. And there are nuances, and it's a complex thing. And to speak in black and white terms on this topic alone, it doesn't actually work at this way. But it's a reflection. The why, the consciousness behind this choice is the real issue. I'm just not going to take responsibility for myself. I'll put that onto my employer, onto the government, onto the media. I don't want to grow up. I want to rely on the mummy government to tell me what to do, all these sorts of things. This is the real issue, actually. And the expression of that consciousness as going along with the indoctrinated state of the collective is at the heart of it, actually, for many people, but not all. So really, that's there's so many things to speak about in regard to that. But going into 2023, I will be trying to make a video actually for 2023 as to what I see coming, because it will get extremely challenging in this way, 2023, as to what to expect on the physical plane. But at the same time, the universe is supporting evolution. And so we are always supported, and more so than ever, in the last decade or so, particularly since the end of 2012. And there's always that support, and we just need to tap into it, to be open to receive it, to work with the flow and the rhythm of the universe at this time will be one of our greatest assets, because things will get challenging in some ways, and in some ways things are going to actually get easier. So this is the story for 2023. It depends what your values are. It depends on your expectations for your life, and it depends on how you understand you are living as a human in a physical body with this soul journey. So there's plenty more to speak about these topics, but it's really important that people start to really appreciate what is happening on this planet, and that this blip of 2020 and the years, things are not going back to the way they were. This is a catalyst for a profound awakening, but it must be more than a head-centered awakening. It must be more than just knowing about all these control systems and all the rest of it, external things around the planet, but then not bringing that home to us to make empowered choices and discovering our own light, and also discovering our own power. And if we don't do that, then we're not making this quantum leap of evolution, which is such a huge opportunity for this class of soul that I define as the intermediary zone, and how they can work with this and come to their own realization of what's occurring, and understand there's a much bigger agenda here going on than the leaders of the globalists and so on. There's something much bigger that's occurring, and in many ways the acceleration for all these methods of control and tyranny are a reflection of the limited time that they have left to have this planet as their playground, because they are running out of linear time. Thanks for watching. We live in epic times.